Hey friend, today in this watercolor tutorial, we're going to be going over how to paint California poppies. I've seen a ton of these in bloom before in the spring season in Yosemite National Park, so it's very reminiscent of some of the native wildflowers you can find there. Without further ado, let's get to painting. The colors I'll be working with today are Winsor & Newton Orange, Yellow, Red, and Sap Green. And the two Princeton round brushes I'm using are a size 2 and a size 6, and my painting size is a 5x7. The first thing I want to do is start laying out our poppies, and I want to begin with a little bit of orange and a good amount of water on my brush. And the poppy has kind of this upside down, almost bell shape to it. So I'm just going to start to outline kind of a slightly angled line here, and then let it swoop down below just like this. And then I'm going to do kind of a parallel line that's mirroring this other one just on the right side. And then from here, I'm going to just dip my brush in some water and just lightly fill in with some water and pulling from the wet lines that we just laid out. And then I'm just going to do kind of a swooping line all the way across. And while the center is still wet, I'm just going to take a little bit of plain yellow on my brush and just fill in a little bit of yellow here, just as a highlight point. I'm going to bring it all the way to the top. And then on the outside of this forefront petal, I'm going to just use a 45-degree angle to my brush here and do a swooping motion upward to make a second petal here. And I'm going to use orange again just to do a smaller version of the same thing on the left-hand side. From here, I kind of want to have a little bit of shading and some more depth, so I'm going to mix just a little bit of orange with some of the red, just to get a deeper orange. And I'm just going to shade towards the bottom here, just like so. And because that's quite a harsh color, to buff it out a bit, I'm just going to get my brush a little bit wet and blot it on a paper towel. And now I'm just going to guide some of this darker, deeper red color on the outside of these outer petals, and then slightly on the inside, outlining this main petal. Okay, so now that we've got our main flower done, I kind of want to do a few other poppies that are in different blooming stages. And so again, I'm starting with our orange as our base color. And I'm going to do a very kind of loose petal here. I'm starting with kind of a wavy, almost S curved shape. So it kind of goes down here, goes up, and then goes back down. And then I'm just going to connect it downward. This almost looks like a heart, but it's got a third kind of wave or curvature in the center instead of a point downward. So now I'm going to utilize some water just to help water down this petal here. Okay, next I'm going to start building our other petals. Off towards the left, I'm going to do kind of a rounded, just a rounded, almost like skinny balloon shape. If you've taken any of my in-person workshops, you know I have very unique analogies for different shapes. I'm also going to do maybe a smaller kind of balloon shape off towards this area here. And then just towards the bottom, I'm going to kind of do this kind of upside down, almost rainbow curve, just like so. And then I'm just going to use water to help fill that in. So while this poppy is still slightly damp, I'm going to add just a hint of yellow, just directly kind of overlapping. And I'm going to add our shaded colors once this is set and dried. So for right now, we can actually move on towards some underbloomed poppies. So I'm thinking maybe we've got one up here that's really underbloomed. So to get this shape, I'm just going to almost paint like the silhouette of like a little apple seed. It's very, very dainty, as you can see. It's slightly rounded towards the top and points at the base. Now I want to do maybe a poppy that is slightly more bloomed than this one, but it's just kind of a simple, almost candy corn shape. I'm really just firing away with the analogies here, but just filling that in just like so. Okay, maybe I'll do one more smaller kind of apple seed shape poppy right here. There we go. And then maybe just one more slightly larger poppy over here. So kind of this upside down bell shape. This one's just a little bit wider than this one. And while they're still slightly damp, the orange kind of overtook some of it, so I'm gonna use a slightly dry brush just to lift some of that pigment, using good pressure with my hand, just kind of lifting some of that color. And then from here, I'm gonna grab some yellow, just to help kind of add to that highlight, just overlapping like so. Okay, so now I'm going to come back into this larger poppy here, and I will use some of our mixed orange-red color. And I just want to start to kind of shade the center here using just this dot texture with the tip of my brush. And then from here, I just want to kind of outline the bottom of this subtle kind of rainbow curve. And then I want to give it kind of a more definition on the sides here. So I'm just going to do a little kind of round swooping motion to connect it to the center of the flower here. And then I'm carrying on this shading on the bottom of these petals and the edges of the top petal as well. Okay, so that is slightly harsh. So just to kind of soften it, I'm going to blot my brush and rinse it off a bit, and then just go alongside these transitions with a slightly damp brush and just buff it out. Okay. So we'll come back in a moment to add a little bit more detail to that. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that kind of vibrant red-orange to one side of these slightly underbloomed poppies, and then just carry on with a slightly damp brush just to help kind of buff out that shading a little bit more. Here we go. Okay, so sometimes you can get a little bit of a waterline with your flowers. Like here I've got a waterline, and just to help smooth that out, I'm simply just going to take a damp brush and just lightly buff out that transition. Okay, so now we can actually move on towards our greenery, and I'm just using Sap Green. And what I want to first do is kind of build some stems, and I'm just using light pressure with my brush and doing a swooping motion to the base of the paper here. Let's see, this one maybe could go another direction. Just gonna smooth out this line a little bit. And then to make the base a little bit more strong for this poppy, I'm just doing a little bit of a, almost like an upside down triangle here, just to kind of help connect the base of the poppy. Okay, so from here, I am just going to do another curved line. Maybe these two flowers here are kind of connected. I'll do a little upside down subtle triangle for these guys as well. And then I want to connect this kind of budded poppy, and it's going to underlap kind of behind this other poppy. Maybe just connect to this larger one here. And then this is my last poppy to add a stem to. And then from here, I want to start kind of building our leaves. So the leaves of the poppies are pretty delicate. They almost look like dill, like the herb dill. So to start, I'm gonna do kind of a rainbow. I'm gonna wash down this green a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of a rainbow curve to start. And then from this rainbow curve, I'm just gonna take the tip of my brush and give it some really delicate, wispy brush strokes on either side of this rainbow curve, using the rainbow curve as kind of like a connecting point. But I'm just almost like painting little curved eyelashes is what I would kind of mimic here. So from here, maybe I'll do a leaf that's going upward, or a little branch that's going upward. And then from here, I'm just gonna continue on building these kind of really delicate little wispy dash lines, just like so. And I'm being mindful to use really light pressure with my hand and just the tip of my brush, not the belly of the brush, but just the tip. Now from here, I'm just gonna kind of build off of a couple of these branches or these leaves and just kind of add maybe a rainbow curve on a couple of the initial first branches. Keep calling them branches, but they are definitely leaves. Maybe this one here is gonna have a curved one, just branching out from it. Okay, so the last bit of detailing I just want to do is on this poppy here. I'm using kind of that blended red-orange color. And all I'm going to do is add a few just delicate dots with light pressure with my hand, just in this kind of center area of the poppy. And then I may just accentuate kind of the shading of this petal just once more and just kind of buff out those lines just a hair. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this watercolor tutorial of California poppies. I love how vibrant and colorful these poppies are, and it's a great painting to kick off the spring season. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any further watercolor tutorials.